Guys, welcome back to another data analysis session. I'm Gabriel Udio and I'm a data analyst at Data Playground. The last time we started with SQL and we looked at TradeFlow's real database for the first time. We learned what a table is, we looked at what a primary key is, what a foreign key is, and we made use of two commands in that video, select and where, and we use them to look at data and try to trace relationship. So in this video, we would go much further with those same two commands, and we would add two new ones, the group by and the order by. And by the end of this video, you'd be able to, answer real business questions about trade flow, not just generic questions like show me this one row, or questions like which country has the most customers, or what's our average order values. We're going to put this, four commands together, and we'll be able to answer roughly 80% of everything the business will ever ask you as an analyst. So let's get right into it. My environment is already open. You should open the Beaver on your laptop, and we'll just simply try to create a new script here by right clicking on this, go to SQL editor, and then new SQL or new SQL script. All right, so let's start with select. Now, the very last time when we use select, we use the asterisk, right? Now, whenever you say select and then you have to use asterisk, that simply means give me every column in that particular table you are trying to select. Now, that's used for exploring, but in real work, you really want every column. You might just want specific ones, because a real table might, maybe have 20 or 30 columns, and trying to pull all of them just, clutter your results. So the best thing is to most times try to be specific on what you want. And so we can decide to select still from the same database that we're working with. You can decide to select customer name, and then the country from the customers table. So I expect that want to select the column that is called customer name, and we want to select the country of each of those customers right from the customer table. So we just simply hold down the control and enter keys on your keyboard, and we can see the only two columns you can see appearing right now are the names of each customers and the countries, right, where they are coming from. So this is the real shape of select. You list exactly the columns that you want. You separate them by commas, like you have here, just right after the word select, and then you say which table they come from. So this actually, like, it matters a lot when you're working with real company data, because trying to pull only what you need, it helps in making your results faster to read, and it also helps in, it makes your queries faster to run. Now, in our last video, we made use of the where. Also, we made use of it once, and we tried to find one specific customer, by their exact ID. I think that was Linda Rich, I guess so. And so where can actually do a lot more than check if something is, just equal to a particular value, right? So, for example, let's say we want to find every product that is maybe priced above a certain amount. We can decide to say, okay, select product name. Now, from our last video, we already tried to understand what kind of tables that we actually have. And every time you are not sure what's contained in your table, or what's contained in your database, rather, you can just open the database, look at the tables that you have, and maybe you want to reference a particular thing. We can see that these are the keys we have. Okay, products is primary key, and then you does that. Okay, let's just take all the columns. It's better this way, to try to look at it from all the columns. You have things like products ID, product name, so you can be very sure that, okay, what you are trying to select is it actually exists, right? That's the point of just trying to show you this. So please just have that in mind. So we're going to select product name and category. And let's say we also want to take out the unit price from the products table, and where unit price is let's say the unit price is greater than 50,000, and I'm going to hold my control and enter. Now, what do we see here? We can see that all products have been selected. Not all product, actually, all products with prices above. You can see the list price here is 52,539, and from then on you see that the price just keeps okay, at this point it's not even properly sorted. It's still scattered, but we do not see any price that is less than 50,000 here. So just for the record, for things like comparison, you can use this symbol, like maybe the greater than. You can choose to use the less than. You can use greater than or equal to, right? You can also use it less than or equal to, just the same way you have in mathematics, right? So all this will actually help you to be specific about what you want, right? Now, at the same time, you can even decide to combine your conditions. This where condition, for example, you can decide to combine it with and, for example. Now, whenever you say and, you are trying to say that this has to fulfill. Okay, for you to, I think I must have mentioned something about and or when we're working with spreadsheets. I think so. And mind you, if you've not looked at our videos on spreadsheets, please, I'll drop the link to the playlist in this video. You can start from scratch, or from wherever episode you stopped at, and just try to follow up with them. Now back to this. Whenever you talk about and simply means that all conditions must be true for you to have a particular result. Okay, that's enough jargon. Let me just create a simple scenario. For example, I have a job and I'm supposed to go to work today, but the criteria for me to go to work today is that I have okay, it's not going to rain. That's number one. And number two, I have a pressed clothes. So what that means is that if my clothes is pressed and it doesn't rain, then I would go to work. If my clothes is pressed but it rains, then I would not go to work, right? If my clothes is not pressed and it does and it still rains, then I will not go to work. So the point is this: for me to be able to go to work, two things must be true. My clothes must be pressed and it must not rain. That's the purpose of having and. You must make sure that okay, all conditions are fulfilled. You can even have multiple conditions there. So trying to apply that logic in answering a business question. For example, you might want to say, okay, I want to select. Okay, let me just look at this. Select, let's say, all columns from the customer, or let's say from others instead. Sorry, from others, from the others table, where let's say customer ID is equal 1042, right? Okay, first I'm going to run this so that you try to see what I'm trying to describe here. Now remember Linda Rich from our last video. Now this was what we did for her. Remember, we got two results. We did something like this. The other status is this. So now I want to select only the other status that is completed. So what am I going to do? I'm simply going to say and other status, right, is equal uh completed. Now can you see we have just one result now, because she actually had two orders. One was cancelled, the other was completed, but now I wanted to be specific, and then we decided to select just the one that was completed, right? So both conditions just have to be true for what we are looking for to actually show up. That's just how the and works. But now you note something. I put completed within single quotes, right? And the reason why I had to put completed between single quotes is because it's called text values. Again, um I'm not sure. I think I've mentioned something about integers, but take notes. Most of the time, we need to start knowing a few of these data types. Integers, for example, are whole numeric values, not decimals. If you have decimals, they are called floats, right? If you have text values like your letters and whatsoever, you have they are called text values. Rather, you have letters and alphabets and whatsoever. They are called text values. While, like I said, integers are wholes, right? Now, sorry, you can call them text values or string values, right? Let's just put it that way. Either you can call them text, so in case you see string or you see text, it still basically means the same thing. All right, so just have that at the back of your mind. So just the way you have and working, there's also what you have the or, right? Or simply means as long as either of these conditions are true, I should have results to show, right? That's just how it is. Because sometimes in the real world, you might want to rules that, for example, they match maybe at least maybe one of several conditions that you have, probably not all of them. So we can try to, for example, in this case, try to find the orders that were cancelled or returned. So here's what I would just do. I would just say select from orders where order status is equals cancelled, uh, or oh, sorry, what am I doing? Why, I forgot to turn off my caps. This is bad. Where order status is equal cancelled. Is that how spell cancelled? Okay, yeah. Oh, oh, order status is equals or return. So I want to see the orders that were returned and then the ones that were cancelled. So select all columns from the orders table where order status was cancelled or order status was returned. So it's supposed to return all rows that either had cancelled or returned. So you can see cancelled, returned, returned, cancelled. It's just basically only the cancelled and returned that you would have here, right? So it's pretty much you have it. You probably have a lot of rows down here, maybe 1000 and something. Let's say here 1034 mixed of both cancelled and returns. But you get the point. The point is this: I'm able to select multiple rows because I'm trying to say as long as this particular row fulfill this condition, return it. I want to see what's in there. Now, there's a cleaner way to try to check several values, and it's using what we call in, right? Like in some cases, trying to write or trying to write or over and over can actually get messy. So I can say something like in, right? So I would say select uh let's say from orders where order status in, right? Then I'll let's say you have cancelled that these other status are in, or how do I even try to say that to make sense anyway, but you get the gist. So I'm just going to press Ctrl and enter. You can see it's still the same result that we have. So instead of me having to try to, maybe there's some case where I might want multiple conditions. I cannot be saying other status is equals to this or this or this or this. Like I have many ors and whatever, when I can just say in and then list out all the specific stuffs I want. Just makes your work pretty much easy. Now you can also try to filter a range, and to filter a range You can use the between, right? For example, let's say you want to find every order that's, for example, placed, within a specific date range. You can say something like select, let's say, all columns from, let's say, orders where order dates, right, is, sorry, that should be dates, is between, let's say that was 2025. Let's try to select 2025, 1st of January 2025, is between this and, right, 2020. Let's say we just want to select all January's values, so 01 and 31. So I expect that we are going to see, sorry, okay, yeah. Now, so you can see that all we have here is everything that's in 2025-01. All orders in January, we have 264 orders that came up in the month of January. So that's how to use the between, right? You want to if you want to select values between a certain range, it just grabs everything right from the first value to the second value inclusive. That's everything that involves 2025-01-01 and then 2025-01-31. Grabs those two values as well as everything that is in between them. Now, also in the same way, you can also even use like. Also, now how like work is, sometimes you might not know uh the name that you have for an exact value, right? But you might just know part of it. For example, let's say you wanted to find every product with, let's say, cables somewhere. You were not sure exactly how they were named or something, right? But you just want to make sure that, okay, every product that has cables somewhere, you can bring them out. So if you wanted to do that, how would you go about it? You just simply use your select, right? Oh, we use select so much. That's cool. Okay, yeah, I think we should specific now. Let's select product name because we don't want all columns. We want something specific. We're going to select product name from the products table, where product name is equals, now I'll use percentage and then cable and then put percentage. Now the purpose of having this percentage is because you're like, okay, there are probably values before the cable and there are probably values after the cable. So select anything that you know that you can just find cable in between. Just select it. That's how this one works. So I'll press my control and did I do something wrong? Did I select? Oh, yeah. I remember I said you were supposed to use the like. That's why our table is empty here. We're supposed to use the like, not just I was trying to talk about the like. So contrary. Now you can see, now we of course have two things. We have HDMI cable, we have HDMI cable V2, right? As we are just said, as we were just said, product name. Let me show you. If I just said product name is equal cable, it's possible that we won't have any results that will be returned to us. Cable. Oh no, cable. Yeah. So I'm just going to press my enter there. See, we have nothing, and that's because we're actually not sure of what we're looking for. So when you have the like, it just makes your work much easier because you're not sure of what you're looking for, but you have an idea of what you are looking for. So you just use the like, and then it helps you bring everything that has to do with what you are looking for. Right. So like I said, the percentage sign that is there can just mean that anything can come before or after this. Now, next thing I'm going to try to do is to make use of order by. Now order by helps us to put results in a useful order, right? For example, we might want to order by, let's say, units price, right? So, and if you check, if you observe the way we've been working, right, whenever we run a query, the results always come back in whatever order the database feels like giving them to us. And most of the time, it's usually just in the order in which they were originally inserted. And that's really useful. Most times, we want to see things in a particular order. So, for example, let's say we wanted to select a product name and we want to select all product names and their prices, and then we want to order them by the unit price. How would we go about it? We will simply say select select product name and unit price, right? From, let's say, products, and then we want to order by unit price, right? And then ah, why why did I oh, okay, yeah, I've seen this. I There's not supposed to be an this is, yeah, that's not supposed to be there, so we have to be careful about that. Yep, so we have what we want right now. So you can see from the unit price, that's the smallest, and then going up to the highest guy, right? You can see the highest like it's 4,000, and then the smallest like 577.07. I don't even know what currency is being used there, but you guys get the gist. You guys get the gist, right? We are just basically trying to order by unit price, and you can actually do it in this case. It's ascend. Now the default when querying is always in ascending order. So if you wanted it in descending order, we would have to add the descend, right? That's DSC. That's just how you add it. So it's going to go from the highest now and down to the lowest. Like I said, the default is always in ascending order. So going from the highest to the lowest, you'd have to add DSC for descending order. Again, we can also use the group by. Now, group by allows it allows us to answer questions about categories and not just. If you notice, like everything that we've done so far, it filters, and sorts individual rows. But to be very honest, some of the most valuable business questions are not always about individual rows at all. Most of the time, they're about categories. Like, for example, how many customers do we have in each country? What's our average order value? This type of questions, they need a completely, different approach. And this is where the group by comes in, right? Before we make use of the group by, we need to understand what aggregate functions are. When we talk about aggregate functions, these are commands that, they take many rows and they try to collapse them into a single summary number, right? The major aggregate functions that you have are count. For example, you count how many rows, and then you have sum. Like, for example, sum is to add up a column. You have the AVG for average. For example, you want to find the average of a column. You have max, that's to find the highest value, and then you have, of course, if you have max, you definitely have min to find the lowest value. So let's start from the simple one. How many customers does TradeFlow have in total? Pretty simple question. I'm just going to say select, right? The count. That means count all the rows, right? From what the customers table. So yeah, we can with this. So TradeFlow has 2,000 customers. So I think that's cool. 2,000 customers. Not bad for a business. That's actually cool, right? So now that we have idea of how count works, let's try to make it generally much more useful, right? For example, we might want to say how many customers does TradeFlow have broken down by country. So we're going to say select the country and write the count. Sorry, guys, we're looking at by country. How many customers does TradeFlow have in each country, right? Now I want to select this from customers, and we want to group by country, right? So I'm just going to press this. Now you can see we group by country, right? Now for Ghana, TradeFlow has 391 customers. For Kenya, 393. Nigeria, 400. Rwanda, 438. South Africa, 378. Right? So we can see we're able to like count how many customers are from each country, and then we're able to group by country. So that's just basically how it works, right? So instead of just like having one total number, the database now, because of group by, is able to split all 2,000 customers into the various group, right? And you're having one group per unique country, right? And then it's able to like take each of these groups separately. That's how you see the power of having the group by. So we can go ahead and try to maybe combine this with maybe like the order by, because if you look at it right now, the companies are, if you observe, the companies are just sorted alphabetically. And what we might probably want to know, we might want to know, okay, which country has the most customers, right? So let's see which country has the most customers. We are going to make use of what we call an alias here, right? But let's just do it first, and then I would explain what an alias is. So let's just quickly go about it. So let me show you what I'm trying to say here. Select country count, right? As, that's an alias. That's what it means. Whenever you see as, you are trying to what, take something as a particular value, right? Naturally, customer counts does not exist in any of our table, but instead of having counts as the name of this column here, we want to make it to be customer count. It doesn't make sense to just, like, if we create a new table, we not just write um count, right? Like count as the name of a column. We want to make something more meaningful. So instead of having count here, we want to change it to customer count. That's why you have the as. So it's not an alias there. So from the customers, and then we want to group by, that's from customers table, and then we want to group by country, right? And then we want to go ahead to order by the customer. I actually wanted to put this on the next line. Yeah, yeah. Order by, but if you see put it on the same line, it's going to work. You just take notes. I just because I don't want I want it to be readable enough, right? That is why I don't want us to be having to scroll left and right to be able to, when we can just go down and see our full code as there. So we're going to order by the customer count, which is the alias that we just created, customer counts, and then we want to have it in descending order. So I'll just press enter, and you can see a beautiful result. We've ordered now by customer count, from the country with the highest number of customers to the country with lowest number of customers. So this is just how you have it. I could as well, if I wanted to remove this alias that is here, let's say, let me just have that there, and then Zotan grid. I can also say order by, let's see if it's going to work. I didn't try this. Let's see. I don't think it's possible. Count. Yeah, so it still works fine, you understand? But it's just that if we're looking at it in real business, 'cause it doesn't make any sense at all. So be having your column name as that. So yeah, I think why? Okay, yeah. So this is much better whenever you have it like this. Yeah. So please just have that in mind. Customer counts there is just an alias, right? So we can go ahead to even try we can try to even use one more aggregate function. For example, we want to say, okay, what's the let's see, what's the average order, or with just order store price. Others doesn't store price directly. Price is does other store price directly? Um, I think we should just try and answer something that the others table can answer on its own. Like, for example, how many others fall into each category? I think that would make more sense for us to do. Let's not try to shoot ourselves yet. In our next video, we can shoot ourselves. But for now, since we're still trying to learn, let's not try to shoot ourselves. All right. So select order status. In this, might be wondering. I'm just selecting. I'm trying. Whenever you see me doing this, I'm just trying to answer business questions. That's just you. I'm just trying to show you how you can answer business questions from a database, right? That's the whole point of what we are trying to do. Like, you don't have to stress so much about things. Just these are just how you can query a database. Like, okay, if you remember our last video, I said the whole point of having SQL, structured query language, is because you want to query a database. You want to ask questions from the database. So that's exactly what I've been doing since. Just a refresher. I just have that in mind. So select counts, and then you have as let's say total from let's say your orders table, and then you want to group by order status, and then you want to order by what? Yeah, you want to order by total, and then you want to have it in a descending order. So yep, right. So now we can see the different order status, and we can see for example, there are 7,412 completed orders, 1,554 processing orders, cancelled orders 529, and return orders is 505. These are actually cool values, but in real world scenario, most times you might want to know what percentage of orders are completed, what percentage of orders are processed, and whatever. You might always want to do the calculation manually, but you can do it using SQL, but that's not for this video. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's so easy, so easy. But for now, just know that it's actually possible to be able to know how many orders were completed, how many were processed, how many were cancelled, and how many were returned. So to wrap up this video, we'll just try to put everything that we've learned together using one big query. And what question do we want to answer? We want to say, among only South Africa's customers, how many people signed up in each region for only South Africa's customers? We want to filter by each region, and then we want to know how many people signed up in each region. So how do we go about it? Select region ID. Like I said, remember I said if you are not sure what exists in a table, you can always check through your database and see for each of those tables, okay, what columns actually exist, so you know that you're actually calling something that's real. So we are going to select the region ID, right? And then we are going to count as sign ups from customers, right? That's from the customer table, where country is equals South Africa, right? And then you want to group by region ID. Then you want to order by sign ups, and then you want to put it in descending order. So that's how to simply go about it. So you can see that for all regions in South Africa, we can see how many customers signed up for. Okay, let's just try to observe something. Let me go to the table and let's see. What tables do we have here? Yeah, we have a regions table, right? This is where we want to actually select from. So what columns? Okay, let's just open the regions table here and see what we actually have, right? So we can see this is our region table, right? Okay, let me do something quickly. So that it can make sense to us. I'm going to delete the query anyway when we are done. So I'm just going to say select everything from region. Sorry, I didn't put from FROM, right? Let's just try to see what our region table contains so that we know we are making is it region? Okay, sorry, regions. What am I doing? Yeah. Okay. So from our regions table, we can see that each region has an ID. Their IDs, for example, a region ID with 11 is representing the Consandratin region. Can't pronounce that. But for everyone, we have each region that exists in the whole of this database. They all have ID. We don't want to look at the region names rather. We want to actually select the just the IDs instead, right? So that's the whole point of you now having this particular query that is here. We were specific to South Africa, right? And then we now say for every region that exists in South Africa, how many customers actually signed up from there? That's the whole purpose of this query that we just ran. So let me take this out because this wasn't part of. I just wanted to show you guys why we're having numbers at this point and then still having numbers here. This ones exists actually represents regions that exist in South Africa. They have real names, but we wanted to pick all of them out. We wanted to filter by the region ID, or say we want to select by the region ID, and then we want to count how many people signed up for each of those regions. That's the purpose of having this last query that we just did here. So at this point, we've seen how we can use the select chooses which columns you want to see, where it helps to filter individual rows down to only the ones that match your conditions that you give, and you can use comparisons like and or in between like, and then you can make use of order by to put your results in a useful sequence, either ascending or descending, and then you can make use of the group by paired with aggregate functions like count, sum, and average, so try to turn meaningful turn individual rows into a meaningful category level answers. And so this having these four commands alone, your select, where, order by, and group by, can help you to answer most of what a business will ever ask you. And so in our next video, we are going to go further by looking at the joins, where we'll stop looking at just one table at a time, and then we'll start trying to pull connected data from multiple tables right into a single query. So thanks for watching this video. Please remember to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you in our next session.